So, I have a ton of movies in my collection, 547 at last count to be precise, and they're all spread across DVD, Blu-ray, 4K Blu-ray, and VHS tape. And I've actually never seen a lot of these movies. Like, I have them, and I've seen a good chunk of them, but there's a lot of them that I haven't seen. And if you're wondering why I have unwatched movies in my movie shelf, I'd like to know why you have that unread book in your bookshelf. Just gonna put that out there. You know the one I'm talking about. Now, some of these titles might be a little surprising to you. You might hear of some of these movies and be like, how can you consider yourself a filmmaker if you haven't seen this movie? And to those people I say, very easily. Good artists create, great artists steal, and I'm just stealing from a different group of people than the rest of you guys. Trust me, I am. Besides, there's only so many times you can hear great American filmmakers go on about how wonderful Citizen Kane is before you start to realize that they're all cut from the same cloth, and you should probably expand your horizons. So this year I've decided to go back and sit down and watch every single one of these movies in alphabetical order. Without further ado, we have 984 Prisoner of the Future. I never said all of these would be great movies. Okay, so right off the bat, we're getting into some pretty questionable territory. If you were excited about any of the more important or popular titles coming into this series, then I'm sorry, we're not doing that today. Maybe another time. I'm sorry I wasn't the disappointment that you were seeking right now. Hopefully in the future I can do worse.
Don't you understand? I want to end this just as much as you do.
So I feel like this is going to be one of those rare moments where the technical aspects of the movies we watch, especially the low budget, unheard of cheapo sci-fi ones, like the technical aspects were really well done.
Michael, tell him. Tell him I had nothing to do with the organization, please.
Mr. Rowland, I want you to tell the truth. Who committed the crime?
Like, competently well done. A lot of the lighting choices were even unique. There was a lot of clever things going on there.
Conspiracy against Dr. Fontaine, against the movement, against the peoples of the world. Subversive collaboration with Michael Rowland, William Baxter, and other members of the corporation. Additional charges of complacency, infidelity, genocide, treason, verdict, guilty, guilty.
Visually, you know, it was almost always on point. The story was just out to lunch.
And remember, when you vote for Gregson Fontaine, you not only vote for me, but you vote for the
What's the matter, boys? You haven't had lunch?
Well, if it ain't Mr. West, you wouldn't by any chance like to join up, would you?
Sure. Show me the clubhouse. I don't think I could stand the initiation. You know, I can't stand the taste of blood.
You take this very lightly. But when the social balance tips in favor of the man...
Tips in favor of the average man, he will unite, become the strongest individual the world has ever known. I know.
Spare me the quotations. I read Fontaine's book. That's one of the...
No idea what it's about. And I've watched it. All of it. So there are a lot of nods to the George Orwell work, 1984, which should be clear in retrospect. The name of the prisoner, he's given a number instead of a name. His name is revoked, and he's given the number 984. So really, he's just missing a digit from the George Orwell work, and there's a lot of Big Brother commentary and things like that going on in here. But despite all of those trope markers, the story is still convoluted and confusing mess to try to follow. We meet prisoner 984 already in prison. We only see his backstory through flashbacks that the movie gives us. And we see that he lived in a city, that he, had friends with other people, that he was in relationships with other people.
I heard you. I'm going wherever you're going.
Maybe I'm slow or something. Correct me if I'm wrong, but are you propositioning me?
Of course not. Promiscuity is politically incorrect.
But we really never see what made him go to prison. We never see what crime he committed to be here. The flashbacks never link us to present time like we would expect them to. Apparently, when he was working in the city, there was a new political movement rising into power, literally called the Movement.
There are others who feel the same way as I do. They feel the movement's going too far.
Now, the movie never really gives us any idea as to what the political ideology of the movement is, other than hint that if you do something that is considered politically incorrect, that you will be in trouble with the movement-led government. It really doesn't define what political correctness is, outside of suggesting that if you have a mistress, you would be doing something that is politically incorrect.
Additional charges, complacency, infidelity, genocide, treason, verdict, guilty.
I don't know if that lands here nor there. I don't know where that lands in the whole political correctness argument, but it's a strange political hill to plant your flag on. It's very strange. Like, in today's American political environment, I'm not sure who's into mistresses more, the conservatives or the liberals. Like, it could be anyone. I really don't know. Then I remembered that this was a Canadian movie, so maybe they don't use political terminology like we do here in the States. I even tried to pinpoint when this movie came out so I could have some societal landmarks to hang my hat on, but I couldn't even do that. I looked it up on IMDb, and IMDb could not decide if this movie came out in 1979 or 1982. Both dates are stamped on it. Now, this movie ended up being a made-for-TV movie, so I don't know if it was produced to not be a made-for-TV movie. So, like, maybe the studio produced the movie in 1979 for theaters, but decided that theatrical distribution would just be embarrassing or too expensive, so they pulled out at last minute and shoved it onto television in 1982. I truly do not know what happened, but the movie's got 2 dates stamped on it, so I don't know if it's commenting on late 70s or early 80s. I don't even know how much it matters, seeing how little politics are in this film, despite it clearly being a political film. But in spite of all that narrative confusion and non-specificity, the pacing of the film is actually very good. It moves from beat to beat relatively efficiently. We get to see character set pieces in a timely manner. It goes from point A to point B really well. We just have no idea what these points are, but you can tell that they're being hit. Like, we're at this point, we don't know what this point is, but we're gonna explore this point, then move on to the next point in an efficient way. Have no idea what these points are, but we're going for them. There are only 2 bits that I consider a technical flaw. One is when one of the characters tries to show the other character a photo on the desk, but instead of the character picking up the photo to turn it towards the camera, he actually picks it up and turns it away from the camera. I think he was trying to have it face the character he was speaking to, but it was shot like a reveal shot, and it was doing the exact opposite. There was only one other technical issue there where, a lot of the times, the sets that these movies are shot on are very small, and they have to try to make the space look bigger than it really is. And this movie does that pretty well. There are even shadows cast on characters from things that are going on off screen and things like that. But then there's this one shot where all the prisoners are like running around the fenced-in camp area, and they cut to a wide shot of this, and it's just like 3 or 4 guys running in a little 3-foot circle around each other. I don't think it was supposed to look that small, but oh my god, did it ever. Don Franks plays the villain in this movie, and that made me so happy. He does a wonderful job being all sorts of evil. He's done some voice work in some animated shows and movies that I watched and really liked. For example, he did some voices in Cadillacs and Dinosaurs.
In the 26th century, mankind faces an epic struggle for survival. The forces of nature have spun wildly out of control. Mighty cities have crumbled, and the dinosaurs have returned to reclaim the Earth.
He played the big bad villain in the animated film Rock and Rule.
Anyone want a beer? I mock.
Seeing Don Franks on screen, physically acting, using body language and facial expressions was just a joy to watch. There are multiple scenes where he's just spinning in a chair, being all gleeful and happy over how evil he's being and how maniacal he is. Like, it's a joy. It is a true joy to watch.
There are more important things to do than sitting around here beating him to death.
Shut up. We will not shirk our responsibilities. If we do, all this becomes meaningless.
There's a lot of sneaking around at the end of the movie. That gave me a lot of really excellent Portal and Portal 2 vibes, and I enjoyed that a lot. So, definitely watch it for that. All of these things kind of lead to this big twist at the end. They reveal a big twist at the end. And if you don't want to know what that is because you actually want to see this movie, it's not that well written, but it's pretty well executed. So if you want to see this movie, you can skip to this time code so you don't hear any spoilers. But here we go with the spoilers. The big twist at the end is that there is no life outside of the prison. It's a barren wasteland out there. We don't know if, there was this huge apocalypse that was caused by the movement after these people went to jail. So they just covered up the fact that there was an apocalypse by keeping these people in jail and telling them, oh, you can't go out there because you're misbehaving. We don't know if, the apocalypse was always there and the flashback memories that 984 have were just planted there by the prison warden. We have no idea why this is a thing. It's a surprise, but not an understandable one. But it was fun to watch. Definitely recommend it if you're into obscure, cheap, sci-fi-ish movies. There's a lot of fun aesthetics going on here. There's a lot of well-executed ideas in here, or visual concepts. Just not a very strong story to hang your hat on. So, enter at your own risk.